Welcome back, everybody, to another lesson. Today we are going to introduce decimals. So, when we think of decimals, most, if not all of you, have seen this notation before. You have 2.3. Well, that's a decimal. I have the whole number 2, then I have part of a number 3. That'll be read as 2 3/10, but we need to introduce what these place values are. So let's say I had 12.3. Well, I have everything to the left of the decimal, everything to the left of it's a whole number. So I have 2 in the ones place, 1 in the tens place. If you recall from the first lesson, we defined you have the hundredths place, the thousandths place, so on, the thousandths place. Everything to the right of the decimal, that is not a whole number, it's part of a number. So if you have just one decimal place, that's in the tenths place. That's going to be the tenths place. Tenths. So you have 12 3/10. Let's say I put a 4 next to that 3. Now you have the hundredths place. Hundredths. Okay. So that would be 12 34 hundredths, because you have 3/10, you have 4 hundredths. So, and then if I put another decimal place, if I put a 5 next to that 4, I'll have it in the thousandths place. That's the thousandths place. Not the same as a thousands place, a thousandths. So, with whole numbers, if you were to go from ones to tens, of course the tens are bigger than ones and the hundreds are bigger than tens. With decimals, it's reverse. The tenths place is bigger than the hundredths place, which is bigger than the thousandths place. Every decimal place you keep adding keeps getting to be a progressively smaller number. In that, let's say I add one more for good measure, I add a 6, I'll have the 10,000th place. That's the 10,000th place. So I could keep going. I could add more numbers. The next decimal place would be the 100,000th place, and you can go into the millionths place, and so on. When you're doing a lot of math, you're going to often just have answers to 3 decimal places, sometimes 4. You'll sometimes use 4 decimal places to round off decimals to 3 decimal places, and so on. But we're not going to round anything today. I'm just introducing decimal notation. So if I just did the 12.3, I would have 12 3/10. If I include the 4, that'd be 12 34 hundredths. If I include the 5, that'd be 12 345 thousandths. And if I have the 6 here, that's going to be 12 3,456 10,000ths. So that's how you would read these decimals. And those are your places. So let's say I throw out some numbers here. I have 0.1. Well, I have 0 in the ones place. Everything to the left of the decimal is your whole numbers. We have 0 in the ones place, so it's not even a whole number. 0 acts more as a placeholder. But if I have 0.1, I only have one decimal place to the right. That's going to be 1/10. You don't have to say 0 and 1/10. You just say 1/10. Let's say I add another number to the right of that one. Now you have 0.17 rather. In that case, you have a tenths and a hundredths place, so you would have 0 and 17 hundredths. So it would just be 17 hundredths would be your answer for that. And I'll add one more for good measure. Let's say I have 0.178. We now have a thousandths place. So you have the tenths place, hundredths place, thousandths place. You would have 178 thousandths. So that's how you read that, 178 thousandths. Now let's say I put a 2 here in the ones place, which there is no oneths place, it just goes right to the tenths place for the first number to the right of a decimal. But let's say I put a 2 in the ones place, so that would be 2 in 178 thousandths. Let's say I put something in the tens place, that would be 32 in 178 thousandths, so on. So really, that's all there is to reading decimals. Let's do one more here. Let's say I have the whole number 9. I have 9.0. Well, by default, every whole number has a 0.0 in the tenths place. And actually, you could keep going and write 0, 0, 0 for the subsequent places. So every whole number is 9.0. It could be 9.0000000000, so on. Just know that a whole number has a bunch of zeros. But let's say I put a number in the hundredths place. Well, we have nothing in the tens place, but we have something in the hundredths place. That would be 9 and 8 hundredths. 9 and 8 hundredths is how you would read that. And then let's say I decide to put a 0 in the hundredths place. I put that 8 in the thousandths place. That'd be 9 and 8 thousandths. So really, when you're reading a decimal, you just got to know your place values. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. I could keep going. Let's put a 5 here. Let's put a 5 next to the 8. You have 5 in the 10 thousandths place, so you'll have 9 and 85 ten thousandths is how you would read that. Also, this is going to come in handy when we're converting decimals to fractions and fractions to decimals and so on. Every whole number, so let's say I just have the whole number 9. There's 0 in the tens place, there's 0 in the hundredths place, there's some default zeros to the left of that. Those are good, so when we go to convert decimals and move decimal places around, those guiding zeros will be there. But really, that's all there is to reading decimals. There isn't much to it. But next lesson, we are going to talk about converting decimals into fractions. It'll be part 1. There's going to be 2 parts of converting decimals to fractions. One with just powers of 10, which powers of 10, what I mean by that is 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, so on. Then there will be a second lesson later on down the line where you'll have fractions like 3/4 and 1/4. You'll have to convert those into decimals and so on. But for today, I just wanted to introduce decimals and how to read them and the place values. So, hope everyone has a good day. Take care.